Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody's having a lovely weekend. Happy Father's Day. And with that being said, into the TA. Alright, guys, we are going to start off here with SPY. We're going to cover SPY, QQQ, IWM, DIA, Mr. VIX, and then we're going to go over the Mag 7 stocks. Then we'll go over the chip stocks, and then I got a ton of trade ideas for you guys in today's video that you could be paying attention to going into the following week. All right, so starting off here with the weekly time frame, I'm just going to point out you do have that increasing volume here on the weekly chart with a big, fat, green, wide-bodied bar, guys. This is not something that necessarily suggests immediate downside. I'm going to say the same things every other time we print a bullish candlestick, all right? Over here, we pretty much just, retested the previous all-time high. You were basing above it for a few weeks over here, okay? And then you got above that high, and you based above for like a week over there. We haven't had a bearish thing to talk about in quite some time, all right? So I am actively looking for a pullback, all right, because of what I'm going to show on the daily time frame. But I will definitely say right now, guys, I'm looking for that pullback to be bought up. So maybe we print a hammer candlestick next week. Maybe we get some downside, all right? But then I expect it to be bought up, guys. This is still a sign that buyers are showing up. There's not really, one of these, indexes I'm going to show you here in this video that gives me a bearish outlook. It really doesn't. All right. And you had the increasing volume last week to support this move. Like, it's not a bearish look. You literally you fell under the weekly 9 over here. You recovered it and you carried on your way just like you did over here. All right. Fell underneath it. You did something like that. And then boom, you carried on your way. Well, if we're going to follow that, if we're going to analog this over here, we got quite a ways to go. And I'm not saying it's going to go straight up, but I do think 550, is going to be hit. Just my opinion. So if you are playing the short side, I don't see a reason to go heavy short. I think it should be treated as any other trade. I don't think anybody, should just say, oh, it's getting super extended, we're going to see a massive pullback. No, I think we're going to see a feeble pullback. All right. Just a feeble one. And then I think we're going to continue on. That's just my opinion. All right. But now we're going to come down to the daily time frame now that we went over that. I'm going to point out, just like over here, you had this range that we could be paying attention to. Well, guess what, guys? Now you have that same thing going on. We have a 3-day range going on here. If you come down to the 4-hour time frame, you could very clearly see what's being respected. All right, the bottom of the range is 540.30. Top of the range is going to be the high at 544.12. All right, if you can bust above 544.12, from there, you could see something like that. You could base above it and go a little higher. Then maybe we hit 550 in the short term before that pullback. All right. And again, I do think a pullback is coming because of what I'm going to show you on QQQ. But, this is not a bearish chart, guys. Again, with the basing above this 9, you're continuing to do it. It's looking real good. But I will also say, taking new longs over here, if you didn't, you get it on the last base. All right. And guys, I'm just going to read this price action 6 days a week for you guys. Unbiased, literally unbiased technical analysis I will be doing. I was unbiased when we saw this going on down here. I was unbiased when I saw this going on, and people might think I'm just a permabull because I'm looking for further upside, but I'm going to say we have not had a bearish look in quite some time. Even when you had this over here, yeah, I was looking for some downside, okay? But, quite frankly, the fact that you just broke above this, I thought downside was limited. I was screaming from the top of my lungs. This is your buying opportunity. All right. You had the same thing going on QQQ. Right. But let's finish up with SPY first before we move over to that chart. All right. So coming over here to the 15-minute time frame, it's very clear you got a range. Just you're basing up here. Okay. And I will actually point out you got a little head and shoulders look to you, except this head is down here. So someone's got a really big left shoulder. You got a muscle imbalance going on. All right. Your traps, they're looking, they're not too big. Your traps should be above the shoulder there, but they're not. All right. Regardless, you got the same thing going on as down here. Now, I will still point out we had this bearish divergence get printed right here. Okay. If you take out the high, I will look for that thing to continue. I'm going to point out on QQQ, we still are holding our bearish divergence, even with the high we just got on Friday. All right. So you can see this right here. It's still holding. If you pop up to a new one, I'm going to look for a new one to form. So that is what I'm saying. I think this one, I'm just going to throw it out the window. Okay. I don't think this, normally I look for the $5 to $8 pullback if we're going to see one of these 15-minute bearish divergences playing out. Okay. Over here, you got this one going on. Okay, you got a little pullback. You didn't really get much. You didn't get much there, right? You got your $4. That's less than 1% right there, 0.8%. you got of a pullback, all right? And the same exact thing happened over here. Okay, you got, you know, your 0.8%, 0.83% from the high there. All right, so we're not really seeing these things lead to anything. We're still seeing bulls in control, and that's what I want to make very clear. I'm going to point out something on Mr. VIX that suggests, you know, the big money, the big boys behind the scene, they might be, you know, they might be taking bets a certain way. So we're going to talk about that, all right? But let's finish with SPY, guys. Under 540.30, you're looking for a retest of 536.89, all right? And underneath there opens up the door to retest this prior all-time high that we are basing above, which is going to be at 533.07. But quite frankly, guys, I think if you see this level right here, I think it probably gets bought up off there. That's just my current opinion off of looking at these charts. That's all I'm going to say there. Okay, but as you can see, bulls are, you know, taking a stand right into the, you know, the weekend there. It's not necessarily the most bearish look. Okay, it's really not. All right. Now stepping down to, and by the way, I should finish here. Okay, if you take out 54412, guys, we will have the 550 psych level, and that could be hit. All right, we've already hit my 3 upside targets for this push once we broke out over here. The final one was 543. Okay, we're above that. So I feel like these are the Fibonacci extensions. You had the 1.618 Fibonacci extension up there. And yeah, I mean, typically you do get these pullbacks after you hit these levels. So let's see what we get. Okay, moving on to QQQ. I'm going to start off with a weekly time frame. And guys, hit it with the stick. All right, I will not say you have volume supporting this. You have actually rather low volume. Okay, so let's just come over here, mark that out. You can see right here. All right, you did end up, you know, you did get a spinning top candlestick with the low volume, which, you know, that makes sense because it's a very narrow range bar right there, whereas we have a wide body bar. Okay, when you have a wide body bar with low volume, one of them is typically lying, and 9 out of 10 times it's going to be the candlestick. All right, now I will definitely point out what this looks like to me. All right, for the time being, let's take off that level right there. Okay, if you see this move right here, it's very likely going to be bought up. That's my opinion right there, okay? This is a massive bar here. I understand it was off the low volume, but, you know, typically, guys, when you see these, you do not see immediate downside. You see it go a little higher, and then maybe you get your downside. So that's, you know, really what I'm going to be looking for there. And I understand, guys, it's very extended. We're going to go over something that suggests, yeah, we probably are getting a pullback in the short term. But, all right? Solely looking at this weekly chart, what the heck is this, guys? We ain't got a reason to be bearish. We don't. It based above the previous all-time high. You went off to the races, and boom, bop, bing, boo, pow. And now you have this thing, okay? Now you have this. You hit it with the stick, and quite frankly, this thing looks parabolic, all right? But it looks like, you know, we could be doing that, and then boom, all right? Or, you know, you do that, and then you get your little pullback, okay? From there, you know, you could get that. I'm personally looking for like a $6 to $10 pullback, but, you know, I'm going to say, hey, things are looking pretty crazy. I will definitely point out the volume on this run. All right, it's lackluster. It's not what you want to see supporting a move like this. All right, when you're, you know, continuously hiking it up, guess what? You have that increasing volume. Here we have the decreasing volume on this big stick. What the heck is that? All right, but coming down to the daily time frame, let's go over what we're going to be paying attention to. Okay, so unlike SPY, you do not have a range going on here. You're just continuing to make highs. Tech is clearly leading. The semiconductor, if you are new here, guys, then you know this little thing I fall. The semis are going to be leading tech. The tech leads the S&P 500, all right? So SMH leads QQQ. QQQ leads S&P 500, SPY, and then SPY leads everything else. That's exactly how I see it all the time. All right, and these things are continuing to push higher, so we don't really have that reason to be bearish. But just looking at this, you know, daily time from here, you broke above the previous, you know, the range of that candlestick. Guys, you pushed up, you broke out of that little range you had going on here, and that is not necessarily something that leads to, you know, immediate downside here. That is, you know, you printed an outside day. You didn't have an inside day over here. You just gapped up. Okay, you didn't have an inside day here. The strength is still with the bulls, and you can clearly see what I'm saying. You had the range on that candlestick. Okay, you had a range on this candlestick right here. Let me just point this out. Right there, the same exact look. All right, same exact look. Guess what? You busted it up, and then you had a sick, nasty like move. All right, that's $11 move from there. Okay, so again, not necessarily super bearish here, just looking at these candlesticks. Now, what makes me, you know, think we're probably going to be getting a pullback is over here on the daily RSI. What the heck is this thing doing? It's at 78.63. Okay. Let's just mark that. We'll say 78.35. Well, guys, you know, you typically don't go much higher than that. Okay. You come over here, you're at 77, you're at 78.70 over here. Okay. And then you hit it with that. Now we'll point out all of these occurrences, you go higher and you put in a bearish divergence and then you get a, you know, decent pullback. But, yeah, there's that, except for this one. This one, you did not get the higher high. You actually came up and hit it with the golden pocket test. All right. So let's just, hopefully it'll let me with this magnet. Okay. Okay. There you go. You got the golden pocket test and then you sold off from there. Okay. Let's just take off the text thing. I don't like that thing. All right. So there's that. But as you can see, you went a little higher. Again, that candlestick does not suggest immediate downside. Maybe we get a spinning top. All right. Goes a little higher and then you get your pullback. Okay. You got this one over here. We'll mark it. Guess what? Went a little higher and then you had a bearish bar. Okay, close back within the range. That's not what you want to see. If you're breaking out of the previous daily candles range, you want to see it, you know, like close out of it. Here you didn't. That would be your bear sign. All right, and from that high, when we're at on our side, we're exactly where we're at right now. You end up having a decent pullback. So there was that. All right, all of these occurrences. Okay, I'm just pointing out it's overbought. All right, and people can look at it. Oh, it's an oscillator. Da, da, da. Does not matter. Okay, they're there for a reason. They, you know, I wouldn't be using it if they weren't there for a reason. Okay, I also follow price action, which is why I have that bullish bias here on the daily and the weekly time frame. I just do. I think this dip's going to be bought. All right, you go a little higher the next day, and then boom, from this high, so where we are right now, you had an $11 pullback. We're just getting really extended, guys. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I understand it's a parabolic move, but you know, parabolic moves, they also pull back. So there was that. Okay. That's what I have for you over here on the daily time frame that is suggesting that we probably do have a pullback right around the corner. That's just, you know, my opinion there. But again, weekly time frame, what the heck is that stick? That's that. That is that. There's not really any arguing with it. It doesn't matter. Okay. It does not matter what I just showed you on the daily time frame, that stick. It doesn't suggest, you know, that bears are in control. That's just how it is. All right. All right. So here, if you come down to the 15-minute time frame, I will point out you got a little uptrend to go off of. Okay. You got like that thing to go off of right now. I understand it's not the cleanest look to it, but you know, it's also, you know, consistently getting buyers right around that trend line. So that is something that I think is probably going to, you know, you really slice down through that. You get a bearish look to you. All right. Let's look at it this way. If you have this breakout above that previous candle's high, all right, and you come back into it and you close back into it and you break this trend line and you have a massive bearish divergence going on here, I think that is, you know, a recipe for a larger scale pullback. Okay. You can very clearly see this thing's kind of going straight up. You break this, it shows you it's not going straight up. And also that could be a false breakout if you get, you know, back underneath this 478.39 level. And if you want to see it on the daily time frame, let's just see it. You broke out. Okay. So what I'm saying is bullish here. If you come back under it, that's the bearish thing. Okay. That's when, you know, you're probably not getting that immediate continuation. That would be a false breakout of that previous day's range. There's that. All right. But I will definitely point out you have a massive bearish divergence going on. It did hold when it went over there, and it's looking a lot more, you know, a lot cleaner than the one I showed you on SPY, that I think, you know, SPY is probably just going to print a new one. This one, like, do you see what I see? There's that. All right. Underneath 478.39, you're really just paying attention to 476.05. Underneath there, you're paying attention to 474.42. All right. And under there, if I was to pick a level, I'm going to come down here to 472.72. All right. So like you got a lot of stuff to watch here before you get to this just big old gap. If you can take out 472.72, that is when I think you probably just get a quick move down here, like a $7 move to 465.74. Now that's the spot I pointed out on the weekly chart over here, that if you come into it, you know, you're probably just going to, you know, and let's actually look at this. All right. Let's say next week doesn't come all the way down here. Well, do you notice how right here, okay, I'm just going to point this out. All right. You have from this wick up to, you know, up here, you had a fair value gap going on. Okay. What happened the prior week? Is that the right word term? I don't know. It's early. It's not too early in the morning. It's 10 o'clock. All right. Happy Father's Day, guys. I hope you're enjoying your, enjoying your day. If you're a father, hey, here's to you. You literally do make the world go round. This world would be nothing without fathers. Let's all be real about that one. All right. And if you're a son, then go thank your dad. If you're a dog dad, then go, give your dogs a good day. All right. Happy Father's Day. I wish you all burgers and dogs. Hot dogs, except I don't like hot dogs. After I see the videos how they make them, I don't like them. But do you guys see what I see? Okay, wick there, unfilled structure, came back in. You literally wicked down to right here. Okay, so depending how next week is, there's going to be a massive fair value gap. That comes all the way down to 465.74. That thing's probably going to be filled. All right, so that's that. But yeah, 15-minute time frame, guys. That's what I'm watching. You're just going level to level here. If you finally do give up 472.72, boom, you come down and fill that fair value gap I just showed you. IWM, okay. What do we got going on over here? We'll start off with a weekly time frame. This thing looks not good. All right, it does not look good here on the weekly time frame. I'm going to show you something on the 4-hour time frame that I'm watching. All right, but you're coming down to the golden pocket from this whole impulsive move you had up there. It was a $20 move. Okay. Just about 18 bucks. You're now retracing. All right. That's why I look for these retracements, guys. Things do not go straight up. They really do not. And if you want to see another example of the last one, see where that got bought up. All right. Yeah, you came down to, your demand zone there. But ultimately, the weekly candle literally, the buyers literally started stepping it right at the 0.786 fib. All right. The 0.786 fib in this case, I'm going to just reference this daily time frame over here. All right. You have this increasing volume, but the 0.786 fib is right around support, 195.75. So that's what I am going to be paying attention to. Maybe you wick underneath there. Maybe that's that. If that does become the case, then on the 4-hour time frame, you could see, we already printed a little hammer going into the end of the day. I'll be watching this 4-hour RSI with extended hours on. Typically, when I see this thing in oversold territory, it's going to start bouncing or it's going to start putting in a divergence like it did over here. Okay, and then came down to your zone. Okay, and then you boomed. All right. That is what I'm going to be paying attention to. As of right now, you still have this. Okay, you still have this large quintuple bullish divergence. I personally think it's probably going to get burned, but I don't necessarily hate the look of this thing. And if you come down to the 15-minute time frame, okay, this thing also doesn't look bad. It doesn't. You have this bullish divergence going on over here between that low and that low right there. Okay, it looks like you're basing out right on the 0.618 fib. Okay, it really doesn't look all that bad to me. It doesn't. Okay, so that is what I'm going to be paying attention to. If you are an IWM trader or Russell 2000 trader, watch this right here. Okay, if you can get above 199, probably do make it up to 204 in the short term and above there. Okay. The next level that really stands out to me, like, of course, you got this low over here, but, it's not much further than that, so we're not going to watch it. Yeah, above 204, you're watching 201.58. That's that. Okay, but I will be watching this time frame right here. Oh, boy, that is the alarm. All right, so there you go. All right, coming over to DIA, I'm going to start off here on the daily. Well, we could go the weekly time frame. It's a mess. That's why I was going to skip over it. So it's a mess. You guys can see what I see. It's a mess. Daily time frame is what is important here on this chart. Okay, you do have consistent buyers down here at the 0.618 fib right here, right here, right here. They're consistently stepping up there. All right, it doesn't necessarily look the worst here in the short term. Okay, that's just my opinion there. You want to see this, this daily 9 get reclaimed here, and then, things can start moving and grooving. But as for right now, it's a whole sloppy mess. And if you really do start getting over here, I'll be looking for sellers up here. Okay, so that's really what I'm paying attention to. It's not, much to go off of there. You break that uptrend right here, that's going to be the neckline of this head and shoulders pattern. That's all I'm paying attention to. Okay, the real move on DIA was when you broke through your downtrend over there, and that was the move that I was playing. So there was that. Okay. Well, I was playing. I'll just show you. Pull the pocket. You got in right here. this is where I started buying in, and then you had that, and I was like, crap. But then it did that, and I was like, oh, beautiful. 0.786 fib saves the day once again. That's how we do. All right, guys. So I will only go over, the technical analysis, these techniques that I know work. All right, guys. I got some time in the market, and at this point, I know very clearly what works. I know my system very well at this point, and quite frankly, I trust it. All right, and that's why I will continuously, demonstrate this on the indices, as well as give you consistent trade ideas here on the YouTube channel. All right, I will consistently scratch your back. If you guys do want any more, all right, if you want to learn about these things in more detail and see me apply these in real time, and you want, trade ideas and stuff like that, you can go check out the link below for the Discord. There's currently the 40% off Father's Day special going on. That will be ending tonight at midnight. So enjoy that if you would like. Coming over to Mr. VIX, I'm just going to point out you do have, you have a weekly hammer going on here. On the daily time frame, you can clearly see, guys, this thing is up 5.86%. It was up a lot more. It was up just about 10% at the high of day. I am going to point out VIX is up about 6% when SPY was up 0.06%. So on a flat day where they both should be, pretty flat, VIX was up. The only thing that moves VIX is puts being bought. What moves VIX up is puts being bought and calls being sold. Only thing that brings VIX down, all right, so, like a candlestick like that, is when puts are being sold and calls are being bought. The big boys, the big money that controls all of what we are talking about here, decided to take some puts or sell some calls. Probably sell some calls because this is an aggressive uptrend. And yeah, I mean, puts are kind of scary. And the aggressive uptrend, you're definitely going against the trend there. I would be feeble on that if you were playing that. I shared my thoughts in Friday's video, so there's that as well. And guys, I will just take the time to say I appreciate you guys. All right, we're pushing out this channel to more and more people each day. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. I do. We got a kick butt community going on here. Okay. All right. But I'm just going to point out that is definitely what the big boys were doing over here. That's the only thing that brings VIX up is puts were being bought or calls were being sold. Just observation. That's that. We know what the big boys are starting to scale into. Maybe they're scaling into puts. Maybe they're starting to sell their calls. Maybe it'll get real aggressive and we see VIX spike up to here. I'm just saying, with what I showed you on QQQ, the NASDAQ, very extended, all right? All the other times over the past 4 years, we've gotten that pullback. We still haven't gotten the pullback. I think it's about to happen. I then think the pullback's going to be eaten up to a new high, all right? But VIX, that means VIX could spike over here, and we're seeing signs that, the big boys that move everything, they're starting to take those bearish bets. So there's that. All right, now let's go over the Magnificent Seven. Okay, Apple, guys, I still wouldn't be touching up here. You do have this decreasing volume on this pullback, all right? So I will point that out. Doesn't necessarily, that's not the worst look ever, okay? But I definitely will point out, I wouldn't be touching this thing up here. You don't have anything to go off of. You've almost hit, the 1.618 fib extension. You really have nothing to go off of. Wait for that pullback if you really want to be wise about that thing. And that's that. You don't make all the big money chasing things. That's typically how you lose in this market. If you've been around the block for a while, then that's typically the case. Okay, that's how it be. All right, Microsoft. This thing doesn't necessarily look bad. I'm still waiting for that retest over here at 433.60, and that is where I like it. That's why I say, guys, a bunch of these things could get these pullbacks and then rip higher. Okay, but that would mean QQQ is gonna come down, and that's tech is leading right now. Well, the semis are leading, but semis and tech, we're going to say. They're both looking amazing, magnificent. Good, guys, you're still just in this range. I'm interested at the bottom of the range, but I don't think there's a reason to chase at the top of the range. Above 179.95, that is when you can go higher, okay? And if you want some targets on that, I got you. I'm going to do that. We're going to do that. Go like that. I got you, guys. All right, so this is why I use the fib extensions. They are respected, okay? That's the wrong one. We could delete that. All right, they're respected. You hit number one. You hit the 1.26. Yeah, 236. Not 26. 236. 1.236. You got the one. And if you just want to, take a screenshot or something like that, there you go. Okay, you guys know my golden pocket settings. I go over them, all the time because I get a lot of questions about it. So there's that. But yeah, ultimately, guys, 185. I do think that is going to be coming here in the weekly chart. This thing is just kind of stair-stepping up. All right, doesn't necessarily look bearish, but I'm going to bring up the same thing I pointed out over there on QQQ, how you have the massive fair value gap going on here. Well, what do you have right here? What do you have right there? I see what we have right here, okay? right there. You have a massive weekly fair value gap, and quite frankly, that is, a ways away from current price. So yeah, we could get that decent pullback. Just something to keep on, the back of your mind. They don't always have to be filled, but let's really look at a time where they weren't filled. You don't have them. Over here, you do have them. I lied. You definitely do over here, but this isn't the index. Okay. Regardless, it's there. Watch it. This thing does look like, it's basing up here. We're going to see which way it decides to go. You have this clear, clearly defined range there going on. All right. Meta, guys, still in the golden pocket. That's where you're paying attention to. That's really it. I like it off of 482.50. If you can maintain above 510, the next levels are going to be 523.86 and then 531.49. Amazon. All right. You see the arrows. I like it. All right. I'm not saying I necessarily like that. Look at that low volume on Friday's candlestick. Okay. But I definitely will say, if you can get down to 180.32, I really like it. So that's that. All right. That's what I'm paying attention to. Now let's go over some semis. Weekly time frame. What the heck is that? Hit it with the stick, baby. Hit it with the stick. That is, Mr. Algo doing its work. Mr. NVIDIA carrying on to new highs. This thing is it's not bearish. All right. SMH with the big stick over here. On the pullback, you are paying attention to 255.92 and then 250.85. Underneath there, you can come all the way back down to 239.14, which over here, but you're already based around that. So hey, you pull back to here, I think you're probably going to get some buyers. NVIDIA, big boy. You're watching this upper channel here. You have increasing volume on Friday's candle, bullish candle. I think you are going to continue higher, just my opinion. You're watching for a break under the 9. You're watching for a break under the low of this channel. Okay, the bottom bound here, bottom trend line. You have decreasing volume on this run. I think, if this thing spills over, it could come down to retest 115.82 and then potentially 106.48. You're really lucky, you get 97.40, but that would bring a big pullback on the market. So that's that. I don't think that's going to be the case right away. AMD, I continue to like it right down here. Okay, you're literally just holding where you broke out from over here. You got a big old range going on, like a very, this is a 30-day range. If you come down here, sweep the low of that range, get sellers involved, come down here to 154, boom. I imagine you're probably going to get some buying pressure stepping in. That's what I'm paying attention to. You see where that alert is? I will take it. Okay. MU continues to trek higher over here. Okay. The last setup I really saw was all the way down here. Now you're just, well, actually, let's just, take a look, guys. You did base above the previous high there. That's not a bad look at all. All right. With this hammer candlestick. And then, boom, you launched. All right. But yeah, guys, I'm looking for these pullbacks where you can really be paying attention here on if you are playing MU. It's going to be this uptrend. Okay. Just pay attention to that. There's really nothing else to go off of on this chart to my, just to me. All right. What you could be doing, sorry if that was loud. My bad. It was loud in my ear too. Watch for a retest of 130.54. That is the level that stands out to me. Why? Because you have all these sellers here. If you come back into it, you definitely will have liquidity there. And boom, you should get buyers. All right. It should be an SR flip. Support or resistance into support. Okay, so resistance into support flip. DSM, okay, weekly chart, still bullish, still, you get the heavy volume going on here. Okay, it actually doesn't look bad. It looks like you got a little bull flag going on after that gap up. And quite frankly, this thing, I'm not going to say this thing looks bearish. If you do end up pulling back 160.78, that's what you're paying attention to. ARM, this thing did end up getting a, big fat wide-bodied, not wide-bodied, wide-wicked, I guess we could say. It's a long-legged doji. That was the word I was searching for. You got it off of heavy volume. So I'm just going to say people probably took, bearish positions here. Take out the high over here. You get above 164. You get a daily close above there. This thing can keep squeezing up. That's what I'm paying attention to. You get the pullback. We're going to take off the golden pocket. All right, you get sellers stepping there momentarily. But guess what? This thing wanted to push. All right, you come back into 146.54. That's where you're paying attention to. That's where you want buyers stepping in there. Okay, which, I'm actually just going to say, get rid of that. Let's give you another level to pay attention to over here. We're going to be watching that. All right, 145 and 135.41. That's where you pay attention for buyers to step back in over here on ARM on a pullback. Right there, that zone. That's what I'll be watching for. This thing's parabolic. It wants to move. SMCI. This one that just started going, and I don't necessarily hate this look. All right. Broke above this, previous resistance going on over there. broke above that downtrend. You back tested this major downtrend that took a very long time to form. This is what I was trying to play, and you know, this thing ended up faking me out for a little while. I got to keep those things in mind as a trader, guys. We got to keep in mind things do like to take the time, and whatever time frame you think is going to take it, you know, double that. Because sometimes yeah, you get a little fake out move, you come back, you know, it scares people out of it. When you see what you see, okay, you make your decisions. And you know, I kept seeing what I saw. I just didn't want to risk it. I was like, you know, get me out of this troll. That was my my thinking there. But yeah, you ended up getting your $100 day after all. That is exactly what I was looking for when you broke up over here. I was saying we probably have a $100 day right around the corner. It took a little longer than I expected, but now you're above here. The next level to be paying attention to is 909.65, and above there 972.31. I do think ultimately you're going to get all the way back up here into this golden pocket, which is above 1,000 to 1,100. That's SMCI for you folks. There you go. All right, now let's very quickly run through some trade ideas. Speed round right here, guys. We got a bunch of them. All right, I got a bunch of things I'm watching. So just throwing some ideas at you because, quite frankly, I think some of these things look juicy. Carvana, all right. You're literally just coming back here. I think you're probably going to continue basing here. I'm watching it for 97.70. All right, I missed my entry over here. That's where I was watching. If you broke underneath, you know, 111.45 right there. If you broke that, I was going to be paying attention to 97.70 for an entry, break, and retest. You did end up getting it. Okay, I was just, you know, I did not have my alert on right there, and I missed it. And that is, you know, guys, you can prepare for things, but you gotta have those alerts. All right, so boom, just a reminder, alert. Okay. So that's that. That's what I'm paying attention to. 94.04 to 97.70 on Carvana. Roblox. All right. What are we paying attention to? You clearly see the buyer stepping in over here. All right. So if you come back into there, all right, or you see the seller stepping in, my bad. My bad. All right. The low of that candlestick, it was resistance. Okay. You had buyers stepping in over here, and then you flipped underneath. Now you have sellers stepping in for quite some time over here for a whole, you know, 2 weeks there. You just busted above it. If you break on this 9, which looks like happening right now, all right, on this pullback, you're getting heavy volume. So if you pull back into it, that's, you know, not too far down there, 33.71 all the way down to the low of that zone, 33. We're going to say 33 to 33.71. We're looking for buyers step back in over there at Roblox. I'll be paying attention to it. All right, Rivian, guys, you have this rising wedge going on here. If you can break down from that rising wedge, that is when you have this right over here. We're actually going to use that level right there. All right, and underneath there, I'm going to say right there, and that's going to align with the 0.618 fib, if I'm remembering correctly from what I looked at last night. 0.786. All right, so you got the two, you know, golden pocket levels that I pay attention to, which, you know, just in case there's anybody new here and you want to use my stuff, 0.618 to the 0.786 fib. If buyers are going to step in, they do it right there at the 0.786 fib. That is that. All right, so 989 and 925. If you're taking that trade, that's where you're planning on taking profit. That is a 10 to 15% move, and then you look to, you know, you look to find buyers. Then there, we're going to want a hammer candlestick off of one of these levels. And I will, you know, potentially be looking to play that. But, you know, slow mover recently. All right, I missed these days over here. I missed these days over here. And, you know, this thing wasn't, it wasn't always a slow mover like this. But now, you know, you clearly see this thing it's getting ready to sell. Oxy, I really like the look of this thing. Buyers are consistently popping up here, consistently showing up. I think this thing is getting ready to take off. All right, just my opinion. I think you're getting an extended loading period here. And yeah, all right, you actually haven't really broken out of this falling wedge pattern. Okay, you can really extend this to here, to here, to here, to here. Now you have 4 touch points going on there. All right, you haven't really broken out. It's happening right there at the 0.786 fib, right above it. Golden pocket. All right, break and retest from where you broke out from. I really like this setup. So I'll hammer the table. I'll bang the table. I'll scream from the top of my lungs. This thing's getting ready. All right, next one we're going to be taking a look at is ZOM. All right, ZOM has a similar look, but it does suggest, hey, guys, oil stocks, they could have a little more downside here, maybe oxy bases, while, you know, ZOM over here decides to pull back. You know, that's a 4% pullback there. It's pretty decent. If you get that retest of 104.88, I really like this thing. This is one that, you know, I was pounding the table on when you broke out from this inverse head and shoulders pattern over here, and then I didn't end up playing it. All right, this thing's looking real nice. I think I was watching it like right over here, and then I stopped, and then it did this, and then I looked back, and it was, you know, already up here. I was like, crap. And then you can see what happened. He went to a new high, new all-time high. Thing don't look too bad to me. All right, you get down here. I really like it. Tesla, break and retest off the bull pennant. You also have the inverse head and shoulders pattern. Not looking bad to me. All right, I'm looking for a move up to this golden pocket. 216 to 238. That is what I think is incoming. But, you know, the short-term levels that you're paying attention to, as you can see, sellers started stepping right around 187.56. You're paying attention there, 187.56. Above there, 198.87. Above there, 205.60. All right, just to make this a cleaner chart for us, we're going to put this zone right here. All right, you look for sellers in this zone. Above that zone, you get a daily close. You look for a $10 move up to the next zone at 198.87. All right, TLT. Just going to put this out there. You had a massive downtrend break that's going on over here. You actually hit it with the break and retest. You look for sellers around this level over here. Okay, I'm just going to mark it out with a zone for you guys. Okay, you got that going on there. Come back over here, take off the magnet. Go like that. I really like, you know, you're probably getting sellers stepping in here, but quite frankly, this thing looks strong to me. All right, you got the golden pocket right there. There's a little short setup if you'd like it. Again, it looks strong to me. So, you know, take it at your own risk. No financial advice will be given here on this channel. That's that. All right, FSLR. Guys, I think it's getting ready. All right, you have this range going on here. You can see on the weekly time frame, this thing just closed out with a shooting star candlestick. Large upper wick, heavy volume. You know, a lot of people got trapped. That's, you know, you swept the highs over here. You had this range I was speaking of, and the bottom of that range was down here at 261.21. If you could break up under there last week, I was looking for a move down to 232. You don't have anything. It's very thin. All right. The structure is thin. You don't have anything pretty much. It's not even thin structure. You just don't have it. All right. So if you do break 261.21, I think that move is going to start to the downside. And then I think you could pull all the way back to 232. Now, guess what? That's going to line if you take some time. Maybe it goes into... Okay, maybe it takes 2 weeks. You get down to 232. That's going to line with this uptrend. Okay, and maybe, you know, if things get real drastic, you hit it with that. All right, and it's like a wick there, and then we have a weekly hammer right here. That would be a good look to go off of. Okay, but underneath 261.21, 232, and then 199.10. That's what I'm paying attention to. Hood. All right, I think the time is starting. You just broke this daily uptrend. Okay, you have a bunch of upper wicks here. I think sellers are very clearly making their point that they're taking their positions, and I think they're about to bring this thing down. On the downside, the levels you're paying attention to is 21.21, 20, 17, and then 19.11. Okay, get the TP1, that would be 5%, TP2, 10%. You get a 15% move all the way down at TP3. That's just what I'm paying attention to. Okay, got this over here. TP3 aligns right with that golden pocket. Does not a mistake. It's not by coincidence. That is just how I move. All right. SoFi, you getting ready over here? All right. You are certainly catching a falling knife. Certainly catching a falling knife. You're coming down into, you're in the golden pocket. You're coming down support. All right. At 641. I think it's very likely. Wick under here. Maybe you come all the way down here and then wick up. You want to see a hammer candlestick. You want to see some sign that buyers are stepping in. I call them sign of strengths. All right. There has to be some sign there. You had a sign sellers were stepping in. You faded quite a bit, 10%. Well, if you print the same thing, the opposing candlestick down here, you're probably going to bounce 10%. All right. If you can eventually break out of this falling wedge pattern, I don't know if it's going to come this week. Probably not. You're probably just looking for, you know, that hammer candlestick down here this week. Okay. If you get that, and then you do break this trend line and you do get the daily close above it, unlike over here, that is when we look for the move up to 743 to 764 in the short term, and then 790 above there. And this thing really could get going for a ride. All right. It's very clearly been consolidating for a very long time. Chop, I will point out, break and retest off of where you came down. I unfortunately, I put it on the focus list, and then I think it was the week after it did that. Okay, I was looking for a break. This is when I was watching over here. You could not hold above, where I was paying attention. You want to see these daily closes, guys. The daily closes are going to be significant. And then you came under, All right, you came right to the bottom of the range. That's like what I was pointing out. I think it was on AMD, the sweep. If you could sweep the bottom of the range, get sellers involved, get the wick under there, showing like boom, some sellers, and then boom, buyers, you got it right back up, and the buyers took control by the end of the day. From that point, you went for a ride. So you did hit all my TPs for this trade plan, but I'm gonna say I'm just pointing out weekly chart don't look bad. You get the increasing volume, but if you want to take it short, there's that. I wouldn't be sure in this thing. I think above this level right there, above 68.02, you're looking for 74.04. That's just my opinion there. Okay. S-Bucks. Similar to Hood, you just started breaking down. I pointed out literally right here. Okay, now you've broke underneath that uptrend. Could see something like that. Now you have this little range. Maybe it's a bear flag going on here. You're stair stepping down. All right, so ultimately 76.83, that is what I'm paying attention to over there. But yeah, from here to here, you've got buyers stepping in the gold pocket. So let's say you took it right there. There you go, guys. This is, this is how my system go. That is, it is there. Netflix, okay. I think this thing has more juice in the tank. The weekly chart, this thing don't look bad. You based above the previous high. All right. And yeah, quite frankly, I think new all-time high incoming over here on Netflix. It doesn't have to happen right away. But yeah, the 0.618, the 1.618 fib extension is going to be up right at the previous all-time high. So I do think 799 will be hit. That is the previous all-time high. That's what I'm looking for. Maybe it doesn't happen right away, but this thing looks bullish here on the weekly chart, daily chart. You also could tell you were basing right here. You just broke above that base. You just did it. Okay. False breakout. You just started getting your move up. All right, IBM, I think this thing is getting ready for a big move right here, whether it's that trend line break or that trend line break. You break one of these downtrends, all right, this thing could get explosive, all right? You could get hit it with a stick, all right? Big move right there. Been taking a while there, but I do think it's, it's got potential there, and if you really want to take that all the way down there, look at that, all right? Just something to keep on your radar if you want. I'm personally not going to be playing it, but I do think it looks really good. I do. I think this thing is getting ready for a move to the upside. Just what I'm seeing. All right, guys. So that is what I have for you today. All right. I appreciate you guys. I very much so appreciate you guys helping me out, growing this channel, the attention. Okay. Thanks for engaging in the comments, guys. We really are just I get the message that pops up on the YouTube Studio app, and it says your audience is engaging more in this video, or it's I don't know. Something like that, and it's helping it reach a wider audience than usual on YouTube recommendations. Guys, I really do appreciate the crap out of you for that one. All right. Thank you. If you did enjoy this video, let me know down in the comments. Please remember to like this video, and if you have someone out there that you think would benefit from this video, if you got your own your group of traders, okay? I don't personally know traders in real life. I really don't. But if you got those people, share the video if you think they would find value in it. I would appreciate it, and hopefully they would appreciate it. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Father's Day. I will catch you all tomorrow, and we're going to kill this week. And with that being said, I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.